The return to the ghost ship 5 years had passed since Commander Ray left his old ship behind. The Starseeker had once been his proud machine, a fast scout ship used for deep space missions. But after a crash on planet Velar 7, it was damaged, beyond repair. Ray had survived, but the ship had to be abandoned. He never looked back. Until now, Ray's current ship had a failing power core. He remembered the Starseeker still had a working one, so he made the decision: go back, get the part, and leave. It was supposed to be a quick trip. When he landed near the crash site, the winds howled across the dead landscape. Velar 7 was a quiet planet. No cities, no people, just endless rock and sky. The Starseeker sat half buried in dust like a skeleton forgotten by time. Ray stepped out of his ship, holding a light and a toolkit. As he walked toward his old ship, memories returned. The last mission, the crash, the long wait for rescue. The metal door of the Starseeker creaked as he forced it open. Inside, it was cold and dark. Dust hung in the air like fog. The lights flickered weakly. Everything was as he left it. Broken chairs, burned wires, cracked screens, or so he thought. He walked toward the engine room. He knew exactly where the power core was stored. His boots echoed through the empty halls. The silence was heavy. Then he heard it. A sound. Soft. Quick. Like someone moving. He froze. His hand went to the sidearm at his belt, but he didn't draw it. "Hello?" he called out. No answer. He shook his head. "Just the wind," he whispered. Still, he moved slower now, more carefully. When he entered the storage bay, he found the power core right where he left it, covered in dust but still in place. He knelt down, set his toolkit beside it, and began unlocking it from its mount. That's when he heard it again. A thump. Then something scattered on the floor. He stood up fast, flashlight scanning the room. And then, a whisper. A real voice. No, don't. His heart raced. He aimed the flashlight at the far corner. Movement. He stepped closer, and then, from the shadows, something ran. A figure, small, fast, bare feet on the metal floor, a flicker of long hair, pale skin, and glowing eyes. Ray's breath caught. It wasn't a ghost, it was a girl. "What the hell?" he whispered. He followed the sound of footsteps moving carefully through the narrow halls. Doors creaked open. Something metallic dropped behind a closed panel. He stopped in front of it. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said, loud and clear. "Whoever you are, I just came for a part, that's all." No reply. Ray crouched, looking at the floor. There were footprints in the dust. Small, bare feet. Recent. Someone had been living here, inside the ship, all this time. Ray walked back to the old sleeping quarters. Something was different. The bed was made with new cloth. Food wrappers, alien brands, were stacked in a corner. A small pile of drawings, scratched with sharp rocks, lay near a broken screen. Some of the drawings showed strange symbols, and one showed him. His face. On the wall, drawn in rough lines. She knew him. But how? He turned sharply as he heard something fall behind him. A metal panel had opened, and the girl, no older than 15, stood there, staring at him. Her eyes glowed softly in the dark. Her skin was pale blue. Her hair shimmered like silver. She looked terrified. Ray held up both hands. "Hey, it's okay, I'm not your enemy." She didn't speak, she just looked at him. Then ran again, disappearing through another hallway. He didn't follow. He was still in shock. An alien girl? Living in his abandoned ship? Why? Who was she running from? And more importantly, why did she look so scared of him? Ray stood in silence, heart pounding. The ship groaned under the wind outside. The lights flickered again. He looked back at the power core, still lying on the floor. He had come for a part, but now he had found something else entirely, something alive, something impossible. And he knew one thing for sure. This ship wasn't empty anymore. The girl in the shadows, Ray, stood frozen in the dark hallway, staring at the place where the girl had vanished. His mind was racing, an alien girl, no weapons, no armor, no tech, just living in his old ship. She had looked at him with pure fear in her glowing eyes, like he was the danger. But she wasn't attacking. She was hiding. Ray slowly walked back toward the living quarters. His boots made dull thuds on the cold floor. The air smelled strange, not just metal and dust, something new, like burnt fruit or maybe herbs. It was faint, but it didn't belong. He stepped into the captain's quarters and turned on the old emergency light. A soft red glow filled the room. He looked again at the strange signs on the walls. Not just drawings this time. There were symbols. Sharp lines, curves, repeated patterns. He knelt down and touched one of them. Language, he muttered. But not one I know. Ray wasn't a linguist, but he had traveled far enough through the galaxy to recognize writing systems. This one felt ancient, but not random. Whoever had made these marks knew exactly what they were doing. And then he noticed something else. In the corner behind a loose panel was a pile of junk. But not normal junk. It was organized. Broken wires twisted into circles. Bent spoons placed in a row. Cracked glass sorted by color. She had been building something. Ray reached for the items but stopped. He didn't want to touch them. Not yet. They felt personal, like memories turned into objects. Then he heard it again. Breathing. Soft. Just behind the wall. He stood up slowly. "I know you're there," he said quietly. "I'm not here to take your home. I only came for one thing." No reply. "I didn't know anyone was here. I wouldn't have entered if I knew." Still silence. He took one step closer to the wall. "I can help you, but I need to know who you are." Suddenly, something dropped behind him. Ray spun around, flashlight raised. A spoon rolled across the floor. She was watching him, always staying one step ahead. He could feel it now. Not just her fear, but her presence. The air seemed to thicken when she was near. And then, without warning, the ship's lights blinked once, then turned off completely. Total darkness. Ray's flashlight flickered, then died. No, 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 he tapped it. Nothing. He stood still in the silence. Then, a whisper, right next to his ear. "You shouldn't be here." Ray's blood ran cold. He turned quickly, but no one was there. The whisper hadn't been angry. It was afraid, worried. Not for her, but for him. Suddenly, the emergency lights came back on. But dimmer this time. Just enough to see the hallway. Ray took a deep breath. "Okay," he said out loud. "Let's do this your way." He went back to the engine room and sat down near the power core. He placed his weapon on the floor, slid it away. Then he opened his bag and took out a protein bar. He placed it in the middle of the floor. "I'm going to sit here," he said, "and wait." Minutes passed. Nothing. Then, movement. From the corner of his eye, he saw a shape. Small. Quiet. The girl appeared near the doorway, half hidden in the shadows. She stared at the food. Her hands trembled. Ray didn't speak. He just waited. She stepped forward slowly, cautiously. Her feet made no sound. She knelt, picked up the protein bar, and took a bite. She looked at him. This time longer. Her skin was smooth and glowing faintly, like moonlight. Her eyes were deep silver, not cold, not empty, just tired. "Who are you?" Ray asked softly. She opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. She held her throat, then pointed to her ear, then shook her head. She couldn't talk, or didn't know how. Ray reached into his bag, pulled out a small tablet device. "I can fix an old translator," he said. "If you let me." She hesitated, then nodded once, then without a word, She turned and ran back into the ship's dark corridors. Ray exhaled. She didn't trust him yet, but she didn't want him to leave, either. This wasn't just a scared child hiding in an empty ship. She had been waiting. But for what? Ray sat back against the wall, staring at the dark hall where she vanished. He had questions now. Many. Who was she running from? Why his ship? Why the strange symbols? And why did she whisper like she knew something terrible was coming? He looked down at the strange pattern scratched onto the floor beside him. One symbol glowed faintly. It looked like a warning. A shape with claws, teeth, wings, and one word written beside it in Standard Galactic: "They are coming." Ray blinked. Whatever this girl was hiding from wasn't human. The broken translator. Ray didn't sleep that night. He stayed in the cold belly of the ship, surrounded by silence and shadows. Every creak in the metal, every whisper of wind outside the hull, made his hand twitch toward his sidearm, but he didn't reach for it. Not anymore. She hadn't attacked him. She hadn't even tried. Still, something about the alien girl set his nerves on edge, not because she was dangerous, but because of the warning in her eyes. Like she was watching the stars, waiting for monsters. By early morning, Ray had set up a small workbench in the main control room. The old ship systems were almost completely dead, but he had pulled out a half-burned translator module from a wrecked console. He was going to fix it, somehow, not just for answers, but because he needed to hear her story. Understand it. The silence between them was too loud now. The girl hadn't shown herself again, but he could feel her nearby. Sometimes he saw her reflection in broken glass. Sometimes he heard a soft footstep behind a door. Always watching. Always listening. Ray worked in silence, carefully removing corroded chips, rewiring broken circuits. Hours passed. Finally, the device blinked. Power. He smiled. "Not bad for a dead system," he said aloud. He turned the translator on and placed it on the floor. Then he stood up and spoke to the empty air. "You can try it now." No answer. He walked back to the storage room where he had left the food earlier. Another protein bar was missing. She had returned. Ray placed the translator on the floor again and stepped back. After a few minutes, he heard soft movement in the hallway. The girl stepped out from the shadows, her eyes flicked to the device. Then to him. Ray said, "Try speaking." The girl crouched. Her fingers touched the translator. A soft blue light shimmered under her hand. Then, she spoke. Her voice was soft, trembling. Her mouth moved oddly, like the words were new to her. "My name is Naya." The translator buzzed slightly, adjusting to her speech patterns. Ray felt a chill. The voice was childlike but full of something heavier. Sadness, fear, knowledge far beyond her age. "I'm Ray," he replied slowly. "Do you live here?" She looked away. "I hide here." "For how long?" "I don't know. Time is strange." He stepped closer. "What are you hiding from?" She flinched. Her hands trembled. She looked at the walls, the shadows. "They follow light. They follow sound. They eat minds." Ray stiffened. "Who?" She looked directly at him. "Hunters." The translator whispered the word with a mechanical hiss. Ray frowned. "What kind of hunters?" "Not soldiers, not men, they smell thinking." Ray tried to stay calm. "You mean telepaths?" She shook her head quickly. "No, worse. They take memories, faces, names. They make you forget who you are. Then, you become them." Ray's stomach twisted. This wasn't a story told to scare children. This was something real. He sat down slowly. "You're not from this system, are you?" "I don't know where I'm from." Her voice cracked now. Not fear, pain. I woke in a cage. I was with others. We were not the same, but we were all small, all different. They kept us in the dark, fed us noise, watched us dream. Ray's breath caught in his throat. Experiments. One night, Naya said. One of them tried to take my eyes, but I ran. There was fire. I climbed into a tube. I fell from the sky. She pointed to the ceiling. I crashed here. Your ship called to me. It was broken, like me. I made it my home. Ray was silent. This girl, Naya, had escaped something horrible. A hidden lab, a facility, some kind of alien slavery. She had survived, alone, for years. And then he arrived and brought light, sound, movement. That's why she panicked. He was the signal. He was the beacon they could now follow. Ray stood up. We need to leave. Naya's eyes widened. No, if we fly, they see. If we run, they chase. I'm not letting you stay here to be hunted. Then they will come for you too. Ray paused. I'll take that risk. Naya looked down. Her fingers brushed the symbols on the floor. They glowed faintly. Lines of alien script. Warning signs. Etched with panic, she whispered. You don't understand. If they come, they bring the dark with them. Suddenly, the lights in the ship flickered again. The air shifted. Ray's skin crawled. Then came a sound. A knock from outside the ship. Once, twice, 3 times. Naya grabbed his arm. Her hand was ice cold. They're here. Ray ran to the console, pulled up the external sensors. Static. Then, one image came through. A tall, thin figure, wrapped in metal and bone. No eyes. Just a face like smooth clay. It turned its head toward the camera and smiled. Truth of the hunters. The face on the screen did not blink. It had no eyes, no nose. Only a smooth, pale surface stretched across a long skull and a mouth too wide for its head. The lips curled into a slow, deliberate smile, the kind that did not belong to anything human. Ray stared at the image. His hands went cold. What is that? He whispered. Beside him, Naya stood frozen. She didn't speak. She didn't breathe. Her eyes were locked on the monitor, her skin growing dim, the gentle glow fading as fear took over. Ray turned to her. Naya, is that a hunter? Her voice came in a whisper through the translator. That is a shell, one of many. They wear the skins they steal, but inside, there is nothing. Ray watched as the figure tilted its head, unnaturally smooth like it was testing gravity, testing time. Then the screen went dark. He slammed the console. Damn it! The, sensors blinked once more. A warning flashed. Biosign detected. Outside hull. Life form unknown. Then another, and another. 3, 4, 5. They were surrounding the ship. Ray reached for his sidearm and turned toward Naya. Can they get in? They don't need to break walls, she said slowly. They break minds. Ray narrowed his eyes. Explain. She hesitated, then knelt on the floor. Her fingers traced one of the glowing symbols. The translator buzzed softly as it tried to keep up with her broken words. They are old, older than stars. They come in silence. They touch your memories. If you see them too long, they change you. They erase your name, your face, your will. Ray blinked. And then what? You become like them. A chill ran through his spine. Is that what happened to the others? The ones you escaped with? She nodded slowly. Only I ran. Only I remembered. Ray stepped back, thoughts spinning. So the stories were true. The legends told in deep space bars. The whispers shared between captains in cold stations. Creatures who hunted not for blood, but for identities. For thought itself. He looked at Naya. Why you? Why are they after you? Naya looked up. Her silver eyes burned now, not with fear, but with something else, grief. Because I remember things I shouldn't. Ray frowned. Like what? She placed her hand on her chest. I see stars that don't exist yet. I dream of cities built on air. I speak languages no one taught me. Ray watched her carefully. They call me a key, she whispered. But I don't know what I open. For the first time, Ray saw her not just as a frightened girl, but as something more than human, more than alien. A living puzzle, a map written in flesh, and something out there wanted her erased. Outside, the sound returned. Tap. Tap, tap on the hull, then inside. Ray turned. They're in the air vents. Naya ran to him, grabbing his hand. Don't let them look at you. Don't let them inside your head. Ray pulled a visor from his belt, a neural filter. He had only used it once during a psychic storm. It might work now. He put it on. Can you hide your mind too? She hesitated. I try, but it's loud inside me. The floor vibrated, a long, deep hum. The lights dimmed again, and then the voices began, not outside, inside his thoughts. Ray, you left your crew. You abandoned her. He gritted his teeth. That's not real. But the images came anyway. His old ship on fire. His pilot screaming, his own hands reaching. Too late. Then Naya's voice. Small and distant. Push them out. He felt her fingers touch his temple, cold and soft. And then, silence. Everything cleared. He looked at her. Her eyes were glowing bright silver now, and her hair floated as if underwater. She was no longer shaking. She was holding them back, but her body trembled. Blood dripped from her nose. Ray grabbed her shoulders. You're killing yourself. They're searching. I'm hiding us, but not for long. Ray moved fast. He powered up the core. We're leaving. Now. They'll follow. Let them. He activated the ship's engines. They groaned, resisted, then roared to life. The old Starseeker shook with power. Lights blinked across the panel. Systems came online. But so did another alert. Airlock. Breach attempt detected. Ray jumped into the pilot seat. Get to the chair, strap in. Naya stumbled beside him. Her hands glowed. She placed them on the console. The ship's AI, dead for years, suddenly woke up. Voice pattern recognized. Hybrid source. Welcome, Naya. Ray's eyes widened. What did you just do? Naya looked weak now, barely breathing. I told it who I am. The ship lifted off. Engines roared. But from the corner of the cockpit, a shadow leaked in, like black smoke spilling from nothing. Ray turned. A hunter was inside the ship. No door had opened. No sound. It had just appeared. The faceless figure raised one hand, and the lights died. The ambush. The lights died. The ship groaned. For a moment, there was nothing. No sound, no motion, no air. Only darkness so complete Ray felt like he had been swallowed by space itself. And then, breathing. Not his, not Naya's. Something else. Right behind him. Ray turned fast, pulling the emergency light from the side of the console. He smacked. It once. It flickered on, casting a weak blue glow across the cockpit. Empty. But the shadows moved. Not with the shape of a person, but like they were alive, curling up walls, dripping from corners. Naya slumped beside the console. Her hands had stopped glowing. Her skin flickered like a dying signal. She was whispering something. Over and over. Ray crouched beside her. Naya, are you okay? Her lips moved. The translator, still active, translated in its cold voice. It got inside. One of them is inside. Ray pulled her up, one arm over his shoulder. We're getting out of here. But as he turned toward the exit, the cockpit door slammed, shut, and there it was, the hunter. But not the one from the screen. This one was changing. Its skin rippled like liquid metal. A dozen mouths opened across its head and closed again. Its body stretched tall, then short, then tall again. It was trying to choose a shape. Ray raised his sidearm. Back off. The hunter paused. Then, it smiled. With his face. Ray's own mouth. Ray's own voice. You left her to die, now you'll leave this one too. His hand shook. The hunter took one step forward. Every step it took left a trail of ice on the floor. The lights dimmed again. Naya groaned. Ray whispered, "What do I do?" Don't look in its eyes, don't listen to its voice, or you'll forget why you fight. Ray fired, twice. Plasma bolts hit the hunter dead center, but it didn't fall. It just absorbed the shots like fog swallows light. Then it began to melt into the floor, sliding toward them. Ray pulled Naya into the co-pilot seat. Hang on. With one hand, he reached up and smashed the emergency engine override. The ship jerked upward, slammed by acceleration. They broke through the planet's atmosphere in seconds, engines screaming. The hunter's shadow twisted upward toward the ceiling. Clawing at the air, it hissed with 1,000 voices. Then, the cabin exploded with white light. The shadow screamed. Loud, sharp, like metal being torn in half. Ray looked back. Naya's body had lit up again, glowing like a star. Her arms were out. Her fingers pointed at the thing, and the shadow burned. It thrashed, twisted, tried to escape, tried to climb back into the cracks, but there was no place left to hide. Naya's voice came through the translator again, but layered. Not just one voice, Mia, but many speaking in unison. You do not belong here, I see you, I name you, you are broken. The hunter shrieked and vanished. Ray blinked. Gone. The air was still. The lights returned. He turned to her. What was that? She didn't answer. She collapsed. Ray caught her, lowered her carefully. She was burning up. Her skin glowed red hot, then flickered out. He checked her pulse. Still there. Weak. Fading. He carried her to the medical bay and activated the ship's half-functioning AI medic. Stabilize her. Do whatever it takes. The ship responded. Subject condition critical. Neural surge detected. Life signs unstable. Ray clenched his fists. The engines beeped. Navigation offline. They had broken orbit, but they were flying blind. He moved to the controls. Set a course for the nearest dead system. Somewhere dark. Somewhere they couldn't follow. He looked out the window. The stars had changed. Some looked closer now, wrong colors, twisting slightly. He opened the star map and paused. The ship's chart had shifted. New lines, new paths, unknown routes. All of them were glowing from Naya's last touch. She had changed the navigation, not randomly. She was guiding him, even unconscious. To what? Ray stared at the new path. There was a system marked in alien symbols. Nothing human had ever charted it. One word translated on the edge. Origin. Ray whispered to himself. Is that where you're from, or where they are? The ship suddenly jolted. Another alert flashed. Anomaly detected in cargo hold. Ray grabbed his weapon and ran. He reached the hold, door half open. Inside, lights flickered, and something stood there. But this time, it wasn't a hunter. It was a man, human, alive. But his eyes were wrong. They glowed faint silver, just like Naya's. He raised his hands. Don't shoot. I'm not here to harm her. Ray aimed. Who the hell are you? The man smiled. I'm the first one. The first she tried to save before she ran. He stepped into the light. Ray froze. The man looked exactly like him. Same face, Same voice, but older, tired, broken. Ray's hand trembled. You wanted the truth, the man said. Well, now it's coming, and you're not ready. The ship trembled again. From deep space, something answered. Escape into the stars. The man stood in the cargo hold, quiet and calm. He had Ray's face, but older, worn, and haunted. His eyes, like Naya's, glowed faint silver, shimmering softly in the dark. Ray kept his weapon up. What the hell are you? The man raised his hands. I'm not a threat. But I don't have much time. They're already tracking this moment. Ray narrowed his eyes. You didn't answer me. The man smiled sadly. I'm you. Not from now, but from a timeline that's already burning. Ray's grip on the weapon tightened. I don't believe in time travel. Neither did I, the man replied, until she took me into the fold. He stepped forward into full light. His face had scars, deep ones, too perfect to be random. He moved like someone who had fought too long and lost too much. You met her, you helped her, but in my world I failed. I let the hunters take her, and they used her mind to open something no one was meant to find. Ray's breath slowed. Open what? The older Ray looked up. His face went pale. A gate, a door, to where the hunters truly come from, a place beyond stars, beyond death. He looked toward the walls of the ship. They're not just feeding on memories, Ray. They're trying to rewrite reality. A sharp alarm blared. Navigation spike detected. External. Anomaly approaching at high speed. Ray turned toward the console. They found us. The man placed a hand on his shoulder. Not yet, but they will, unless you follow the path she left. Ray looked at the new star chart, the coordinates glowing in ancient alien glyphs. The word still translated in the corner, origin. Ray whispered, she knew where to go. Because she's more than what you think, the older man said. She isn't just hiding. She was sent, not to run, but to warn. Another alarm, quantum signature detected, phase breach imminent. Ray ran to the cockpit. Naya still lay unconscious, strapped into the co-pilot seat, her skin now faintly glowing blue. She was murmuring, too many threads, too many voices. Don't let them break through. Ray grabbed the controls. He turned to the older version of himself. Then come with us. Help me fix it. The older man shook his head. I can't. I'm just a memory now. A shadow she gave shape so you would understand. He began to flicker. But you still have time. And then, like dust in solar wind, he vanished. Ray stared at the space where he stood. Gone. No trace. No proof. Except the rising scream of the ship's sensors. Hunter vessel inbound. Ray didn't hesitate. He punched in the coordinates. The ship's engines roared, charging for a quantum jump. But just before the countdown reached 0, the stars moved, literally. Out the viewport, space warped. The stars twisted, spiraled, screamed. Ray had never seen anything like it. They're trying to block the jump. Naya's voice, weak, but awake. Ray turned to her. You're back. She tried to sit up. I'm here, but they're watching. He touched her forehead. You need rest. No time. She placed her hand on the console again. Alien symbols lit up across the glass. And then, the ship vanished into the fold, interdimensional space, unknown zone. The stars were gone. Instead, ribbons of light danced like liquid fire. Space bent into impossible shapes. Time slowed and curled around itself. Ray gritted his teeth. What is this? Naya leaned back, her breathing heavy. We're not in space anymore, we're between realities. Ray looked at the sensors, all systems confused. Physics was changing second by second. The engines pulsed like a heartbeat, reacting to Naya's presence. She whispered, "The hunters live outside the pattern. They infect timelines, twist paths. That's why I had to escape. That's why I came to your ship." Ray turned to her. "Why my ship?" Her eyes glowed bright now. "Because your ship is the last unbroken thread in this timeline." She touched the console again, and in front of them, a structure appeared. Not a planet, not a station, a giant sphere made of light and bone floating in the heart of nowhere, the origin. Ray whispered, "What is that?" Naya didn't answer, because something else answered for her. A voice, not from the ship, not from speakers, not from anything known. It came from inside his skull. "Return her. She is ours. The gift must not awaken." Ray clutched his head. "Get out of my mind," Naya screamed. "They followed. They're in the fold." The ship shook. From the edge of the impossible sky, a hunter ship emerged. But this was no scout. This was a vessel of memory, miles long, made of screams and stolen thoughts. It pulsed like it was alive. Skins of its victims stretched across, its hull like sails. Ray shouted, "Can we outrun it?" Naya didn't answer. Instead, she stood up. Her eyes were now pure light. Her hair floated. Her feet lifted off the floor. She looked no longer human. "I remember who I am now." Ray stared. "What are you?" "Not born, not built. I was woven from a dying timeline, from every mind they broke. And I was sent here to stop them before they become gods." Ray watched in awe as she placed both hands on the control sphere. Her voice echoed across the ship. "Prepare for merge." The ship screamed. The hunter vessel charged. And in the final second, Ray saw Naya's body burst into blue flame. And the origin opened like an eye, and everything went white. What she really is. Everything was light. Not white light, not fire. Something deeper, like a billion voices made of stars. Ray couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't feel his body. Only thoughts, only memories. He saw his own birth. Then, his own death. Not once, but many times. In different ways. Different versions of him. In some, he became a captain. In others, a traitor, a rebel, a savior, a monster. And through it all, one constant. Naya always there, always watching from the corners of time, and then he was back, slamming into his body like falling into a deep ocean. Location, unknown space, origin structure. Ray gasped, falling to his knees on a platform made of glowing crystal. His ship was gone. Naya stood at the edge of the floating platform, her body surrounded by a shimmering aura. She looked older now. Not physically, but like someone who had carried too many lives inside her soul. Ray crawled toward her. "Where are we?" She turned. Her voice came from everywhere. "We're inside, the heart of memory, the place they want to erase." Ray looked around. Endless shapes floated around them, shifting forms of people, creatures, ships, whole civilizations. "These are memories?" "Yes," she said. "All the ones they tried to delete, the people they made disappear, the truths they buried, all held here, waiting." "Why?" "Because memory is power, Ray. If you kill someone's body, they're gone. But if you erase their story, they never existed. That's what the hunters want. A clean universe. A silent one." Ray stood up slowly, his voice cracked. "You're not just a child." "No," she said softly. "I was built from their mistake." Ray stepped closer. "What mistake?" She turned to him. "They tried to erase a timeline. But it fought back. The people it erased and their memories clung together. And those memories formed me. Ray's heart pounded. You're made of minds? She nodded. I carry millions of voices. Every child they took, every world they silenced. I am what they fear most, a living memory. She looked up. But I am breaking, Ray. Too many voices. Too much pain. She reached out and touched his chest. That's why I needed you. Not just to fly the ship, but to remind me who I wanted to be. Ray's chest ached. But how do we stop them? Suddenly the sky shattered. Cracks formed across the stars like broken glass. And through those cracks they came. The hunters. Hundreds of them. Not in ships, not in bodies, but as thoughts. Black clouds of forgetting. They poured into the origin like smoke in a burning room. Ray drew his weapon. Pointless but instinct. Naya stood still, calm. They're coming for the core. If they destroy it, all memories will die. Even you. Even me. Ray looked around. Then what do we do? Naya stepped into the air, floating, glowing. I need to go into the core, merge with it, reignite the ancient flame. But if I do, I won't come back. Ray's voice broke. There must be another way. There isn't. He grabbed her hand. No, I didn't bring you this far to watch you die. She smiled. You didn't bring me. I brought you. Ray stepped back. You used me. She shook her head. I chose you, because in every version of time you're the one who never forgets. Tears ran down his face. You don't have to go alone. Yes, she said. I do. She leaned in and whispered in his ear. But remember me. That's how I'll survive. Then she turned and flew into the heart of the structure. The hunters screamed. They dove after her. Ray dropped to his knees, helpless. And then, light, brighter than anything. A pulse. Then silence. Then, a wave of gold spread across the stars. Every hunter stopped. Twisted. Screamed. Then, disintegrated into dust. Later Ray woke up on a small ship. Alone. The origin was gone. Naya was gone. But something new had happened. He looked at the console. New star map. One he had never seen before. Coordinates blinking. A soft message on screen. To those who remember. Ray stared at it. He sat in the pilot seat. Took a breath. And smiled. She's not gone, he whispered. She became the memory. He turned on the engines and followed the map into the stars.